Good morning, everyone. Thank you for waiting for the slight delay this morning. It is Thursday, January 16th, 2020, the first meeting of the new year with Post Falls Urban Renewal Agency. I'd like to call a meeting to order and ask for a roll call vote, please. Roll call.
Clemenson.
Here.
Coles.
Here.
Davis. Here. Baltzell.
Here.
Carstensen.
Here.
Crosby.
Here.
And Horn. Here. Thank you.
Okay, and would you join me in as Commissioner Crosby leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Again, thank you all for being here and tolerating a little bit of a late start this morning. It's my fault and the fault of my truck getting iced over, and I had to work to get it done. So I'm not the only one, I guess, got that problem today. So anyway, we're ready to go. I'd like to welcome Eric back
Thank you.
from his travels over abroad, and good to have you back.
Thank you, sir.
Everybody else, you haven't had a full house for quite a long time. Okay, yes? Well, except for the attorney, he's doing the legal work this morning, jury duty. Oh, I think, yeah. Okay, let's work through the agenda this morning. The ceremonies, appointments, and announcements. The biggest thing we have is in January, we always elect officers for the coming year from the commission to lead us through the year, and we'll be electing a chairman, a vice chairman, and a treasurer. And we'll start with the chairman position. I would open the nominations to any nominations for the position of chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I would nominate Jerry Baltzell as chairman.
I'd second it.
Okay, Jerry Baltzell has been nominated to be chairman. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? And a third time, are there any other nominations? If not, the nominations are now closed. Y'all want to vote on it? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign? Oh, thank you, I guess. Okay, nominations for the position of vice chairman. Are there any nominations?
I nominate Larry.
Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations for vice chairman? If not, we'll close the nominations and take a vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Did we have a
Motion
second
carried.
on that?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
You know what's coming.
We vote.
Let's re-vote on that. Somebody might have changed their mind. Larry. Okay, it's moved and seconded. No other nominations. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Congratulations, Larry.
Thank you.
And the next and last one for the moment anyway is for the position of treasurer. Are there any nominations for treasurer?
I nominate Lynn Crosby.
Okay,
Second.
got a second on that. Any other nominations for the position of treasurer? Are there any other nominations for the position of treasurer? Last call. Any other nominations for the position? I'm really not trying to get you out of there. It's just I think you're required to do it 3 times. Anyway, no other nominations. We have it moved and seconded. Let's go ahead and vote for Len Crosby for treasurer of the Urban Renewal Commission. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you all, and thanks for being willing to serve on this. We also have 3 committees, Finance and Policy Committee, which appropriately so is led by Len Crosby, District Review by Colin Coles, and Communications, Property, and Personnel Committee, which is chaired by Larry Carstensen. So I'll be probably looking for input from them. if they would continue serving. I think our team has done a really good job in terms of leadership, and I'd like to continue that. But those of you that are on a committee, and I can tell you who you are if you don't know for sure, if you'd like to continue serving on that committee, or if they would like to have you serving on the committee, we could just roll that over into this new fiscal year and keep doing our business. But a lot of work's been done this past year by the committees and this board, and I appreciate it very much. So with that, if there aren't any other questions or comments, we'll move on to the next part of our agenda. Conflict disclosure. Do any of the commissioners have any conflicts with any subject matter that's currently on the agenda today? Okay, seeing none. Move on to the consent calendar.
Thank you. Good morning, Chairman Baltzell and Commissioners. Item A on the consent calendar is the Commission meeting minutes of December 19th. Item B is the payables for this month totaling $11,533.46. Item C is the bank activity report, which shows total in all funds of $4,379,109.89 and accrued interest for the month of $5,658.89. Item D is the financial reports as of December 31st and include the first quarter budget versus actual. Your approval of the consent calendar this morning will authorize transfer of $5,658.89 accrued interest to the general fund and transfer to the Community First checking account $11,533.46 for the payables. I would answer any questions.
Any questions regarding the consent calendar this morning? Seeing none, let's go for a roll call vote, please.
Don't we need a motion?
We need a motion.
I'd make a motion that we approve the
that's a good
consent
idea.
calendar as presented. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry. Moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Now we can have a roll call vote.
Clemenson?
Aye.
Coles?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Baltzell?
Aye.
Carstensen?
Aye.
Crosby?
Aye.
And Horn?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. My brain must have froze this morning. Okay, committee updates, finance and policy. Commissioner Crosby, please.
The committee reviewed the financials that you've just approved and found no problems with them. And we also worked with Diane on the management portion of the audit. That's what we did.
Okay, great. We'll hear more about that in just a little bit. Okay, very good. District review.
I have nothing this morning.
Okay, good. I did like your comments previously that you submitted, and we'll be working through those this coming year for sure. Communications, property, and personnel. Commissioner Carstensen.
Just that we're going to schedule a meeting for hopefully in February, so we can look at 2020 and see where we're at and where we're going. So the committee, well, I don't know. We're going to talk to Diane and see about scheduling one.
Okay,
So
all right, very good. And just as a side note, before we go any further on the committee updates, do you have handy, I think I do, of the committee assignments?
I gave them to you. There's a piece of paper up there.
It's in the, yeah. Here's who the committees consist of at this time for this past year. Finance and Policy Committee, Len Crosby, Chairman, Laura Horn, member, Eric Clemenson, a member, and Colin Coles, an alternate. District Review Committee, Colin Cole is the chair, Jamie Davis is a member, Larry Carstensen is a member, Len Crosby is an alternate. On Communications, Property, and Personnel Committee, Larry Carstensen is our chair, Colin Coles is a member, Jamie Davis is a member, and Jerry Baltzell is an alternate. So be thinking about that, and both the chairs and the members of those groups, and we'll go from there, and I'll look at see what you put together there too. Okay. Any questions or comments at this particular time? Okay. Okay, citizen comments. This section of the agenda is reserved for citizens wishing to address the commission regarding an agency-related issue. Comments related to future public hearings should be held for that public hearing. persons wishing to speak will have 5 minutes. I know you're on the agenda. Anything back in the next, towards the end? No. Hello? No, guess not. Okay. We'll move on. Unfinished business. Any unfinished business at
No.
this time? Okay. New business. We have an action item under A and action item under B. Would you like to walk us through that, Diane, please?
Sure. Tony Hackworth from Anderson Brothers CPA is here to present the fiscal year 2019 annual audit, and after she presents, a motion would be in order to accept that.
Okay. Thank you. Tony, you come on up, and I don't know who she wanted her over here, I guess. Huh?
And I handed out the hard copies to everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
And I am here to fill in for Lee Anderson. He's currently in Cabo laying on the beach. So I would
Excuse-
much rather be there right now.
Excuse me, could you briefly introduce yourself and what
okay.
your firm name is, please, for the
Yes,
record?
okay.
Thank you.
Tony
Thank
Hackworth, and I am a partner at Anderson Brothers CPA's firm.
Thank you.
You're welcome. First thing, Lee wanted me to impress upon all of you that your agency does a great job in your financial accounting and reporting, your staff. He wanted me to make sure and start off with that. And I believe you all have a copy of our audit. Hopefully you've had a chance to go through it. I'm going to walk you through our reports and a few financial highlights. I don't want to go over this entire document. I think that if you have a hard time sleeping in the evening, it might be a good thing to read. I'm just kidding, but it's a very large document. It has a lot of good information, but I'm just going to kind of go over it briefly. So as a result of our audit procedures, we issued 2 separate reports. One is our auditor's report, and that's on page 1 and 2 of the document. And we have issued what's called an unmodified opinion. It sounds kind of negative, but actually the best opinion that you can have. They also call it a clean opinion. And it basically says that the financial records, your accounting systems are materially correct. We don't test every single item or look at every single item, but as a result of our audit procedures, you can feel confident in your financial report.
Could I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
What is the threshold for material weakness that you use when you do your testing?
I don't have that information with me right now.
That's fine.
I didn't perform the audit, but we do calculate materiality and use those different thresholds in determining whether or not your financial statements are materially correct. I can pull up the file and get back to you with
Yeah,
that.
that's fine. I was just
Okay.
more curious than anything.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think generally, it's a financial, it's a misstatement that would lead the conclusion, that would lead the figures shown on the audit to be inaccurate, incorrect.
Correct.
An unfair representation. And I think that, yeah, that's sort of a generic term for a material.
Sometimes they do establish a minimum threshold that they don't look below that, but everything above that. And if that hasn't been done, it's not necessarily a problem. I just was curious.
As far as our testing, we don't necessarily only look at items below the materiality thresholds we calculate. Most items are subject to our audit procedures, whether they're $20 or $5,000. So, but as a result of our audit procedures, if we do have exceptions or findings that are material based on our materiality calculations, then your report could be a different report.
Thank you very much.
Sure. The other report that we issue is on page 32 and 33. Since you are a governmental entity, we have to also look at your internal controls and also your compliance with laws and regulations and issue a report over those. And again, the report that we've issued is an unmodified opinion. Again, meaning that your internal controls are adequate to support your financial reports that are being presented to you and the accounting records, and that we did not find any non-compliance with laws and regulations as the result of financial reporting.
Thank you.
I'm going to go through a few highlights of your fund statements, and those are the actual statements that you, when you do your budgeting process, those represent most closely to your budget figures. The first two statements are more of a full accrual statement that went into play years ago. I'm not going to go through those. They're a little confusing and not really as applicable to you as commissioners when looking at your budget to actual. They present your capital assets, long-term liabilities, and such. So they're good statements to look at and read, but I think I usually go to the fund statements because that's really more applicable to what you do in your entity. So page 11 is your balance sheet. And your revenues over, your liabilities over your assets over your liabilities. Let me get to that page. So you had at September 30th, 2009, you had 4.7 million in assets, and those represent more current assets, your cash, your receivables, investments, and such. Your liabilities at that point in time were $185,000, and your fund balance is your assets less your liabilities equals your fund balance, and that was 4.7 million. Of that 4.7 million, 3.8 million is either restricted, committed, or assigned. So those are funds that have been set aside or committed for specific projects. And then $680,000 is the balance that's unassigned, so that's available for general uses, general purposes. Page 12 is your statement of revenues over expenditures. And for this last fiscal year, 2019, your revenues were about 4.8 million. Expenses were 3.6, resulting in revenues over expenses of 1.2 million. And that number has rolled into the fund balance that I just talked about for the current year. The rest of the pages are footnotes that explain your accounting policies, provide more information on your balance sheet items and your statement of revenue items. And I won't go into each and every one of those, but at this time would entertain any questions regarding your financial statements.
Anyone have any questions on her presentation and the report? I have to tell you, just my own personal opinion is when I joined the agency a few years back, there were some issues that needed to be worked on and corrected and improved for a financial picture for urban renewal here in Post Falls. And Tom Lean was executive director at that time and did a lot of work on getting that up to where it needed to be. Diane, on the other hand, has picked that up and rolled it to the next level and doing a superb job of maintaining our credibility financially to our community, our citizens who we really work for. And our finance committee does an excellent job, led by Lynn, and the members of the committee do a really good job of keeping their eyes and ears on what's going on with all of that. So I appreciate all of that effort, because that's what shows. That's how you get a report like this. We haven't always had a report like this, but we have for quite some time now. So that's a compliment to all of you.
Yes, and that was the one thing that Lee wanted me to impress upon, too.
Thank you very much.
One other comment, Mr. Chairman, is that typically urban renewal agencies have a greater liability base than they have an asset base, as we have had in many, many years, because we borrow debt and we pay that off with tax income that we haven't yet received. This is the first year, I think, that we're out of that negative balance and we're into a positive balance, which means basically that until we make further commitments on future districts or current districts, we will continue to have assets in excess of liabilities, and could essentially, were we to need to pay off all of our debt at one time, we could do that at this point.
Good point. Thank you very much. Yep. Okay, any other questions or comments along the way? Okay, if not, thank you so much for coming here on a snowy morning and
You're welcome.
beating me to work, so to speak. And I appreciate you doing that, and we look forward and have enjoyed working with Anderson Company, and we'll look
Good.
forward to more of that in the future.
Thank you.
Well, Diane, do you have any questions or comments at this time?
No, I don't. Thank you for coming, Tony.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Tony. Okay, and we will need to have a motion to accept the presentation and approve the information.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we accept the audit for fiscal year 2019 done by Anderson Brothers.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second? Okay, moved and seconded. Any further discussion or questions or comments? If not, we'll need a roll call vote, please.
Horn?
Aye.
Crosby?
Aye.
Carstensen?
Aye.
Baltzell?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Coles?
Aye.
And Clemenson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carried.
Tony.
Next item under new business is authorizing the newly elected officers, which would be the chair, vice chair, and treasurer, to be designated as signers on our accounts. Although we already are, we would still need to take action to show the financial lenders and so on that we are authorized to do that. So I have the document here that we'll need to complete and pass on to the agencies, but we will need to take action on that, and that would be to approve our chairman, vice chairman, and treasurer to be designated signers on our accounts.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Excuse me, and that would also include the executive director to have access to the financial
Yes.
information?
Yes, sorry. Yes, very. You want to amend your motion?
I made the motion, but so amended.
Okay, so
I'm
amended.
in the second.
And second, okay, very good. All right, very good. We'll need a roll call vote on that also.
Horn?
Aye.
Crosby?
Aye.
Carstensen?
Aye.
Baltzell?
Aye.
Davis?
Aye.
Coles?
Aye.
And Clemenson?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, motion carried, thank you. Staff report and updates?
I handed out conflict disclosure letters, and if you could finish those and give them back to me, I will turn them into the mayor. A reminder of the City Council workshop on future land use map and comp plan will be Tuesday, January 28th from 5:30 p.m. to approximately 7:30 p.m. in the community room at the Post Falls Police Department. And I have scheduled a workshop on February 11th where city staff will give a presentation on impact fees, and I will present the 2019 annual report, and I have that scheduled to present to City Council on February 18th. That's all I have. Next, at the workshop, we will probably have the submittals from Expo and Centerpoint. Welshcomer needed a little more time to check the costs and what they said they did according to the plans. So
Okay.
I'll be reviewing that next week with them.
Will we also have a update report on the park?
On what?
On the tech park?
On the tech park, yes. Yes, I have invited the proponents of the tech park to provide an update on that. So I haven't heard back from them yet, but
Okay.
I do have it on my schedule, so.
Okay, all right, excellent. Thank you very much. Anything else on the staff report? Updates?
That's all I have, thank
Okay,
you.
All right. Commissioner comments? Any commissioners have anything they'd like to add? Pretty quiet. Okay, very good. I've probably said all I need to say too, other than, again, thank you all for serving this community in these roles and giving your time and effort, and Diane for your leadership and driving us through that and keeping us on the straight and narrow, if you will, and the staff back there and in the control rooms and everything, thank you so much for the work you do for us every month. We appreciate that very much, and if there's anyone watching out there in the community, we appreciate you taking the time to do that as well. So I think we've had a good year in 2019, and I think 2020 is going to be even more challenging and productive as well, too. So I'm looking forward to that, and I thank you for your confidence and thank you for your willingness to serve. So with that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Moved, seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. We're adjourned.